Welcome back to our discussions of React. This time we're going to take a look at a more practical, fully fleshed out example of the use of React props. So I have my app.js over here, and you can see the use of the header here, header element 1 here, know your World War II fighters. And I have, so this component, function component, kind of the root or main component of our React application. This in turn uses another component that we've defined here, card. We'll look at it in a second. And then we set up these attributes here through what looks like HTML markup, but what we really know is JSS markup. The property or the attribute title, key points, and image. So title is a string. Key points is an array, so notice the string is very simple. HTML is comfortable and tag languages are comfortable with quotes, that's fine. But to do an object or something more complicated like an array within this, we need JavaScript curly braces. And then we have this array of strings inside that. And then image is set to this image that leads to the image that we see here. So let's look at card.js. So as we see here, this.props is our object's name for the attribute, for the collection of attributes that are set up here. And here we destructure those attributes, title and image. So the main thing here is that so our markup here, the JSS markup, looks as clean as possible, as much like HTML as possible. So this, by doing this, by doing the destructuring up above, we avoid referring to this.props everywhere down in here. Makes this look much simpler. And so we have to, given this syntax, this has to be a property inside of props that has the same name. This goes by the same name as image props. So you can rename them, but we won't go into that syntax. This is better. So the next thing we need to deal with is the key points array. A little bit more complicated. Here we use the map to map each element of the array at this index. Again, this is a callback method that produces this element, list item, key index. One thing that list items, React markup does like keys to be on list items. So the index provides a very convenient way to get a key, 0 through however many elements we have. And this element, remember again, is a string, and it's put right in here. So we have the attribute key, and then we have the string, and this becomes the list items that you see down here. Then getting into our markup, we have our single div that we're returning. We have the class name card for our CSS. I've commented out the CSS above. We'll see the effect of the CSS in a minute. I just wanted to concentrate on the markup here and the use of the props. We have the title that's pulling from here. Again, it's essentially escaping to JavaScript within our markup. We can have a JavaScript expression here, and that's what we do here. And the image here with the alt title. React markup again likes the alternate to be on. That's not required in HTML, but it is required here. So we give this title. We just reuse this title from here for our alternate for the image, in case the link is broken. Then we have this key points again. Class name is because JavaScript uses class as a keyword, so we can't use that. So our the way we call out a class to access through CSS is by the attribute class name. So here we have class name here, key points, and then we expand out the list items that are in here. And so you can see the effect over here. Let's take a look at when we apply CSS. So much better. Looks much more like a card. See a quick look at the CSS here. Our main focus is going to be on React, but quick look at the CSS. The card itself, width 300 pixels, margin 10 pixels, the border, the background, the display, inline block. So that has both inline and block behavior. Recall our image, we have a set to height to 175 pixels, and that sets both height and width in proportion, so it fits nicely within our 300 pixel width box. So then our key points, list titles type none, and that removes the bullet points on the unordered list. So relatively simple. Okay. The next we're going to see a real advantage of and power of these React components. So I might want more than one card on the screen. Look at that. So All of these become individual components, individual objects that get expanded out into are ultimately onto the web page from React. Next, I'll change the details of these cards so we can see the use of props, different props. So I'll insert some cards that have different details here. And there we have P-38 Lightning, Supermarine Spitfire, and Mitsubishi Zero. So, I'm getting that done. The card component is unchanged. I'm simply changing the properties that I send to it. So the title change, the key points change, the image link changes. I think this example brings home really the meaning of the term React components. So instead of having one big HTML page that without discipline can get quite out of control, we get to concentrate our HTML knowledge and our CSS knowledge on single components at a time, yet that are highly customizable in how they appear. Because the main component can customize their container and can customize their properties. So we're going to look at more at how you can use properties and make them more reliable in the next lecture.